channel in a different direction, and I'm going to just react off content. Everybody's saying, well, Miss Sean, she changed. I haven't changed. I changed the direction of my channel, which means that it's free will to cover anybody. Nobody's off limits. No social media content creator, no influencer, nobody who brings their business to social media or nobody who's on social media is off limits from being critiqued. Nobody, not even myself.
Why, thank you, Sean. I think I'll do exactly that.
Whether I talk about Robert in a constructive criticism way or a good way, it's bringing traction to his channel.
Oh, okay. So that's what you're doing?
Robert is not off limits. He is not off limits. One thing I've never done and nobody can say I've ever done is come on social media and disrespected anybody. I don't call people out their name. I don't call them bees. I don't call them this. I don't call them that. What I do is I critique them and I give them constructive criticism. And most of the time, sometimes constructive criticism can seem very harsh. At times it can be. Okay, so Upper says, also coming back from a domestic violence claim is very difficult. I've seen a celeb was totally destroyed from domestic violence. And you know what, Upper, that's something that you can cover. That's something that we all can cover. If you have seen somebody go through the same thing that Latruth has went through and you have never seen it bounce back, I would love, you can correct me instead of saying anything derogatory. And this is to the supporters, not directly to Upper, but if you disagree with what I've said, then go and show me that people who have been through the same thing he has, because he's never did jail time. He doesn't have a record. He doesn't have a record. He doesn't have anything. So he can come back from it.
He doesn't have a record because he hasn't committed a crime.
Everybody kept saying, he can't come back from that. He can't come back from that. Yes, he can. And I believe that he can. He knows that he can. If you believe in that man's talent, if you believe he can come back from that, don't keep saying he can't come back from that, because yes, he can. Yes, he can. Like I said, many people have took a downfall in their life and they have come back from it. There's people that have gone broke, hit bankruptcy, and they have come back from it.
Sean, are you kidding me right now? You actually want to compare what Brianna has done to Robert to filing bankruptcy? Bankruptcy, something that happens to people because they mismanage their funds or because they find themselves in a financial strain and they seek to get financial assistance through the courts in the form of bankruptcy, not someone who has set out to purposely ruin them financially. You can't be serious right now, Sean.
That makes me believe, as much as y'all talk about God and God, makes me believe you don't even believe, because if there's a God, the man can come back from anything.
All right, stay in your lane now, Sean. You're trying to use reverse psychology, and that's not your forte.
They build themselves back up. So there is room to build back up. There is room to build. That's how you support somebody. You give them room to build. Especially social media. There is room. If you guys support him, go buy his beard oil, because he could be very, very successful in that. Y'all can make his brand really grow by purchasing his beard oil.
Okay, let's see here. $80,000 divided by $50 per bottle. Yeah, Latruth, go sell 1,600 bottles of your $50 beard oil so you can bounce back from that $80,000 a month loss. And while you're at it, do that every month so you can quit whining about your damn lost channel.
No matter what you come on here and try to say about me, bottom line is I can build back up. I can do this. And he would have shut her mouth if he would have came back on here and his brand would have been triple times better than what it was before. That is revenge, not engaging. Because let me ask you a question. With him going back and forth, or you guys going back and forth, what has it resolved? In 3 years, people are still going back and forth, and it has not resolved anything. His content has took a hit. It continues to take a hit. But he can control that because he can say, forget it. Let me go here. Let me get this manager. Let me get some things to build this content back up. Go get some legal advice. Go get a publicist. People have lost their brand many, many, many times, and they make a comeback from it. They build themselves back up. They don't sit in their sorrows. They build themselves back up. So there is room to build back up. There is room to build. That's how you support somebody. You give them room to build.
Victim blaming is saying, Sean, you're a legal analyst, so you should have been smarter than to allow Jiggy Jarrett to hit and then finesse you into believing he wanted to move in with you by discussing potential marriage. Instead, you let him convince you to hide y'all's intimate relationship under the pretense of being private, just for him to later bring Anomaly to the scene in a dedicated video on YouTube claiming her as his woman, and then he apologized for getting caught with his hands in your cookie jar. Girl, he apologized for screwing you. Oh, you thought we forgot? Did you bounce back from that, Sean? We knew you were a victim in that situation. We also know you were gullible in that moment and allowed Jiggy to finesse you out them draws, girl. Jiggy saw those light-colored contacts and decided you had self-esteem issues, so he wormed his way into your life using predatory tactics of public compliments while hiding the fact that he was juggling you and Anomaly at the same time. Girl, can you even see behind those contacts? Because Jiggy? Well, my point is this. Your reputation was tarnished, Sean. It was tarnished behind that move, just like your credibility as a legal expert is compromised after the seemingly reckless way you chose to cover Latruth's situation this week. Sean, in your video, you asked us to look up the word bashing, but instead I decided to look up constructive criticism because that's what you claim you were giving Latruth. You even boasted about bringing traction to his page by merely mentioning his name, girl. Constructive criticism is feedback that's intended to help someone improve by offering them specific actionable suggestions for growth or development rather than merely pointing out their flaws or failures. The goal of constructive criticism, Sean, is to encourage learning, to enhance performance, and to build confidence in a positive and respectful manner. When you provide constructive criticism, you use a balanced approach, combining both positive feedback and specific areas for improvement, not just being vague or general with comments like, you can bounce back from it. Constructive criticism promotes a positive environment for learning and for growth. Sean, your chosen approach to critique Latruth was reckless and irresponsible, in my opinion. The things Brianna said about her husband is considered slander, and the DV campaign that she launched against him is considered libel. For those of you who don't know, because I'm sure Sean knows what libel is, it is a form of defamation that involves making false and harmful statements about someone in writing or through other permanent visual representations like printed words or images or online content. It's considered a legal wrong because it harms a person's reputation, their character, or their standing in the community by spreading untruths. Sean, why didn't you talk about the legal consequences of being lied on? Why didn't you discuss Latruth's legal options available to him instead of encouraging his supporters to go buy his beard oil or download his music? Well, y'all don't worry. I brought a little backup from a judge who's going to tell us about libel.
Is there a way that I could publicly diss someone without me being held liable or it being considered slander?
Well, defamation by way of slander or libel. Libel is writing it, slander is saying something. You must identify the person, first of all. You must be clearly identifiable. Secondly, you must intend to hurt their reputation. And you must say something that is untrue about them. The last part is it does hurt their reputation. All those factors aren't there, then you can't sue them for defamation. On the other hand, sometimes you get caught up on that invasion of privacy, where you're exposing someone's private facts to the public against their will, and it makes them look bad.
Got it. When you list
You'll be a lawyer in a minute, won't you?
When you list those things, I was like, man, I remember a few people I did all them with. They're in jail right now.
Or sue, a statute of limitation, though.
You heard what Judge Mathis just said. If a person believes they have been the victim of libel, they may be able to file a lawsuit to seek damages. Libel laws vary by jurisdiction, so the specific legal standards and outcomes may differ based on the location where they're filed. The victim, however, in this case Latruth, can ask for monetary compensation for the harm caused to their reputation, emotional distress, and lost opportunities, such as lost business or employment. Like losing upwards of $80,000 a month in income. Luckily for Robert Hampton, truth is a common defense against libel claims, meaning that if the statement is proven to be true, which Brianna's claim that Latruth was a woman beater is not true, it would not qualify as libel, no matter how damaging it might be. Robert has proof that there was no truth to the fact that he physically abused his wife. Hell, she even came back and admitted that the only time he physically harmed her was when he used the tote to cover her legs after she kicked him. And did he really harm her, or was he stopping her from harming him? I'm not going to debate that today because I'm focusing on Sean. Sean, I can't believe you actually let the words come out of your mouth that Latruth can just rebuild his brand. Sean wants to talk about bouncing back from being lied on and having your reputation tarnished to a point that your income takes a substantial hit. She's alluding to the fact that Latruth should have recovered by now from being called a narcissist and a DV abuser. Instead of kicking a man while he's down, I want y'all to listen to the damage that was done to Latruth. The damage that Sean is now suggesting that he just bounces back from.
I came on here and said that I lost my page of 8.9 million followers. I seen people actually celebrating it. I seen people happy, not knowing what I felt. I'm like, do you know what 8.9 million followers, me losing that, has done to my life, to my pockets, to my finances? Do you know what that has done? With an 8.9 million follower page, I've seen $100,000 in 1 month before. I've seen $80,000 months. So what people don't understand, when you lose platforms like that, yes, it's going to change your life, your kids' life.
So Latruth went from making $80,000 a month down to $14,000 a month because his scorned and bitter ex-wife went after his brand. She went after his image because she knew it would affect his bag. The same bag that she enjoyed during their marriage. The same bag that brought her fame. The same bag that allowed her to quit her low-paying job and stay at home with her children that she entered into the marriage with. Sean, your reckless verbiage of bouncing back is tantamount to saying, just keep making content, Latruth, until you get back to 8 million followers. Hey, Latruth, Sean is over there downloading your music on iTunes at 99 cents a song. That ought to help make up for the $80,000 monthly income that you lost. Okay, y'all, I'm being facetious, but do you get my drift? Latruth doesn't strike me as the kind of person who would take his ex-wife to civil court because as a man, he understands how detrimental a loss of income can be when you're a financial provider for your family. Latruth knows he has multiple streams of income, thankfully, because one of his major sources was pulled from under him. He still has his Facebook pages, but it probably takes the combination of Robert Hampton, Latruth, and Big Twist, all those pages, just to make up for the one page he had with over 8 million followers. Brianna's not worried about being taken to civil court because, for one, she knows her ex husband won't sue her to recoup his lost income. She also knows that she doesn't own anything, not a house, not a car, nothing of real substance. She's not leaving her kids keys, Ds, or LLCs when she departs from this realm. They'll probably be left to struggle financially just like she did before meeting Latruth. Even the money she's been making off social media now is going towards Janelle Young while she shops at Goodwill for her kids. No, I'm not knocking Goodwill, but it's designed for spendthrifts and underprivileged people who can't afford to shop at a Carter's or Macy's for their children. Brianna's more than welcome to shop there, but when you're able to report $420,000 as annual income to the IRS, why the hell you not buying new clothes for your kids? You're buying yourself new clothes. You're buying new clothes for your business to sell. You're buying new clothes for your boyfriend, and even buying the clothes that he sells for his business. The woman is just diabolical. Sean has never said that she was a Latruth supporter. If any of you thought she was, it's probably because she hung out with the Latruth supporters. You might recall seeing Sean on a couple of DHAMs or Ashley Chat's lives, speaking in defense of Latruth or speaking out against Brianna's damaging behaviors against Latruth. I've never claimed to be a Latruth supporter, but I am, and it shows in my actions. Sean and I do have something in common, though, and that's being a mother to a male child. That's really the only dog I have in this fight. I don't have any personal experience with DV, but I talk to my son about how to treat a woman. I tell him that he's royal because his mother is a queen. I tell him that he doesn't have to settle when it comes down to dating because he's smart, handsome, and has great earning potential, whether he decides to work on a job for a living or employ others to work. My son's not old enough to be thinking about marriage or fathering children right now, but he knows because I told him that there are women out here who would trick him out his ick date and take him to court for child support just so they don't have to work. I told my son to stay clear away from women like Brianabattle and to never put his hands on a woman unless you have to restrain her just long enough to walk out the door and exit the toxic relationship. I would never say, son, if you happen to get with a woman who tries to ruin your reputation after you leave her, don't worry because you can always bounce back from it like Chris Brown or Mike Tyson or Jonathan Majors did. Because none of them actually did. They did not bounce back as Sean suggests. Chris Brown still goes through it. Nobody talks or nobody even thinks about Mike Tyson without thinking about the bite or the fact that he allegedly took advantage of a grown woman who showed up at his hotel room at 3 o'clock in the morning just for a little chit chat. Jonathan Majors lost roles and sponsorships that he never got back, and he's still in the thick of it right now. Can he earn again? Sure, they all can. Mike Tyson just recently made $20 million to fight in his 50s. Chris Brown just made millions on tour in this year, 2024. But nobody thinks about Chris Brown without thinking about the altercation with Rihanna. They both were teenagers at the time, and they both admitted to their part in the altercation. None of these men, including Latruth, have bounced back completely from their tarnished reputations, even though they all continue to earn money today. Miss Shawn, I actually like you, but I'm going to need you to do better, ma'am. And no, we're not calling out Latruth. Content creators like Sweet Ma and Lupac have helped debunk the DV allegations against Latruth and provided him with enough proof that he could have represented himself in court. Those two ladies went hard in the paint for Latruth. There are many other influencers who helped expose Brianna's true character, which served as a catalyst to the exoneration and the vindication of Latruth. I'm speaking of influencers like Amber Graham, Chatty Cathy, Retta, Deham, Latay, Upper Echelon, Queen Step. Now, Queen Step be saying the things I be thinking, but I'm not trying to let that 39th Street come up out me. And last but not least, Harmony Speaks. Harmony tried to keep it cute, y'all, but that still didn't stop Brianna from striking Harmony's channel. That move only made Harmony crank things up a notch, and she started letting Brianna have it. I'm talking Queen Step style, baby. I'm talking no hose barred. Gloves the Ugfe off. Had it not been for those people who use their platform to educate and expose the truth, Brianna might have actually been successful in her very calculated DV campaign. She spent a lot of money confusing the enemy about who she really is and enlisting other broken females to join her in a campaign to ruin the man who divorced her. The whole time, she was attempting to build a brand of her own while tearing down her husband's. Brianna didn't want any other woman to enjoy the benefits of being with a man like Latruth, who she knows is a provider and who knows how to get to the bag. So she crafted an evil plan to take away that man's income. But the influencers were on her ass. They ripped apart her lies and exposed her evil plans to a point where she even tried to ruin them by striking their channels. Now, we all know that Latruth is not a woman beater. And what we're not going to do is call him out for calling a hoe a bitch. We're not going to tell him to pull himself up by his bootstraps and bounce back from being defamed and lied on. We're going to continue to enlighten the listeners about the evil that exists in this world. We're going to continue to pour into our black men. We're going to continue exposing fake victims and manipulators and gaslighters and the mental illness that exists within and around the Latruth Saga 1.0 and 2.0. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.